Hi, today's video is fascinating. You're gonna love this subject because it applies to you, it applies to children in your world, it applies to getting maximal results, it applies to productivity, it applies to so many parts of our life that if we knew this, it could change everything. So I'm talking about movement in the brain. Obviously, you figured that out from the title. So let's just get straight to it. So the way it works is that in childhood, a lot of times when I'm walking around and I'm seeing parents having a go, or caregivers or teachers having a go at kids who are moving, I get quite annoyed because it's so basic that a child moves because his brain is developing, and so the child needs to move. So when parents take these kids to these very fancy restaurants and expect them to sit still for like a whole few hours, that's really hard work for a kid because his brain development is linked to his body moving, or her body is linked to her brain development is linked to her body moving. So basically, kids are need to move for their brain to develop, and their curiosity when they're touching things and feeling things, and when you're in the supermarket and they're exploring things, and the adults are getting annoyed with that. We have to bear in mind that that's how the brain works. It's curious. So rather than be annoyed with them, we can use that time to just explore with them and point words out and point numbers out and let the whole experience become an educational one. Whether you're taking them to the bank with you, whether you're taking them, to the market with you, or whether you're taking them to the post office with you, you can actually get a lot out of the experience educationally for them, where they'll be so satisfied because they're learning. And when we come into the world, we're very eager to learn, we're very eager to grow, we're very eager to develop, and this is like a drive that's within us for the rest of our life. So we're always wanting to grow as human beings, and this is why when we have access to some of this information that's available now so widely, through books and videos and courses and so on, we're so it feels like music to our ears. I remember when I first started, learning about all this, I just couldn't get enough. It was just so fascinating for me. And the thing that's amazing is that our system recognizes when we're onto something that's very valuable and very powerful. So basically what happens is when you hear something that resonates, whether you hear it in a song or in a film or through a book or through a friend or you see it on a billboard, the truth resonates. It feels good, it feels true, and it feels like a reminder of something you already knew. Because when we come into the world, we come in pretty perfect. And this is what I love about Dr. Maria Montessori's whole education philosophy, is that she always goes back to children come fresh from God, they incorporate the best that's within us. And but sometimes we forget through life, through nurture experiences that maybe weren't perfect, however way it happened, whether it happened at school or it happened at home, it happened with our siblings, it happened with our friends, wherever we forgot who we are. When we come back to the truth, it's so empowering and feels so good. So movement in the brain. Now, now you know the sort of essence of movement and how important it is to our natural brain development. For the brain to function optimally, it needs two things. It needs oxygen and it needs glucose. And it needs that on a regular basis. So the glucose is essentially, we just want to make sure that our blood sugar is not dropping, so that we're eating quite consistently, and foods that are perhaps slow release, like oats, like porridge breakfast, for instance, is a great slow release food that can last us for the whole morning. So just to get conscious that we're continually, and especially for women, from the hormones perspective, it's very important that we keep the blood sugar very stable so that we maintain our balance. So the way it works is the brain needs oxygen, and that's why when you go to the gym, you feel so good and you feel so energetic, and sometimes you get your best ideas because you're loading up energy to the brain. And that's fantastic. What the gym does, what exercising does, whether it's a run or a machine or however way you're getting your physical movement, essentially you're allowing progress from a mental perspective, and you're allowing progress from a physical perspective. So you're getting stronger, you're getting healthier, and you're allowing some bright ideas to come in. Now, the way we grow emotionally and it's also a great way to get the oxygen to the brain. And that's why I think we need both. And that's why we're hearing more and more about mindfulness these days. But when you sit for a moment and meditate and close your eyes and breathe, as simple as that. We don't need to, we don't need to complicate what meditation is. It literally is a moment where you sit in silence. You make sure your phone is not going to disturb you, so switched off preferably, and basically you allow yourself to breathe in and breathe out, and you just concentrate on the breath going in your nose and out your mouth, and you do that for as long as you can. It's you start to enjoy it so much you'll want to do it longer and longer. But 15 minutes is a good amount to get enough relaxation and enough oxygen to the brain, so that the brain can begin to give you some amazing ideas and guidance. And when you receive guidance in those moments of silence, so that your intuition can actually whisper the ideas that it might have been trying to whisper all day, maybe for a whole week, but we were rushing around and just missed it. That moment, those 15 minutes of silence, even 5 minutes of silence, can actually bring in some ideas that are just so unbelievably powerful for moving you forward. And those ideas are the ideas that are in the formula of work smarter rather than harder. And when you act on guidance, when you act on those ideas from there, they feel inspired, they feel empowered, they feel aligned, they feel right to your system. And they're usually shortcuts. So instead of having to make 10 calls, you're getting an idea to make one call, which is going to be the one, And what's great about acting on that guidance is that you never look back. There's never the sort of I could have, I would have, I should have. It's really like clear guidance, and it feels really good to your entire system. You'll just feel like you just got an aha. And sometimes you don't even get the aha during the meditation. You get it afterwards. You get it when you're in the shower. You get it when you're walking in the street. You get it. You don't know when the idea is going to come and how it's going to come. The universe works through people. It works through billboards. It works through songs. It works through books, it works through videos. It can work in any way. When you're open, when you have a question on your mind, the universe is in the business of delivering you the answer. So when you put it out there, expect the answer to show up, and expect it to show up and make a lot of sense to you and do the trick. So getting oxygen to the brain works in two ways. You can do it for physical and mental progress, and you can also do it for emotional and spiritual progress. And sometimes you see people in the gym, they're working out all the time, but they're not very developed emotionally. And I think we need that emotional intelligence these days to live a life that makes sense, because all the success in the world, if it's not balanced out with a life that feels good to you, so beyond what it looks like to the outside world, what it really feels like to you. For me, it's not success. If the result looks good to the outside world, you've been in this relationship or in this job for 30 years, but actually it doesn't feel good, no matter how high you're climbing or how long you sustain these kind of experiences. If they're not feeling good, if there's no juice and there's no growth and there's no development for you and the others, then it's not really the journey, right? And we know it. It's not a matter of me pointing it out. We know when we're on track, and we know when we're not. We know when we're kind of faking our way through life, and we know when we're really living. It's a whole different way of existing, of being, of creating, and it's a very satisfying way. A way when we don't need to be out there, filling the gaps, the emotional gaps, through shopping, through drinking, through chocolate, through a lot of other ways. I don't need to go into this in the video. You know what I mean. So, okay, so this is it. Movement in the brain is super important. It's important in childhood. It's important for us as adults. It's important for us to move, but as adults, it's also important for us to sit down and breathe. And actually, even in childhood, Dr. Maria Montessori used to talk about this. She had the silence game where we would practice with kids. We would make kids, we would encourage them to sit down in silence, and they would feel so proud of themselves that they can do that, because like I said, movement and action and curiosity is a big part of it. So when they did that, but I think that was so clever of her, because she got them into the training of understanding the seriousness and the value of those moments in silence. So, okay, so a video that can help you and can help the children in your world. And remember that if you're an aunt, if you're an uncle, if you're a grandfather, if you're a godparent, in whatever way, we have children in our world everywhere. And you know how they always say it takes a village. So when we come in and we chip in with our bits, we're helping the parents. And, you know, not all parents have time to learn all this stuff. And so a lot of times, you know, I'm sort of going through whatever social media and everyone's like, we're winging it. And okay, you know, we're winging it, but there's information out there these days, and however way it comes to whichever member of the clan or the tribe, then wonderful news for the children. And as Dr. Maria Montessori believed, you know, children are here to um, show us a better world, and I believe that. And let's work on those kids. Let's give them everything that they need to prosper and to succeed in life, to succeed on their terms. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day. See you next week.